Hey YouTube viewers, it's one jump too many. Recently I picked up the latest Leatherman multi-tool called the Super Tool 300, and it's the third in the line of super tools that Leatherman has produced over the years. The very first one was called the Super Tool, and then they came up with the Super Tool 200, both of which have been retired since, and then just this last week they released the Super Tool 300. And being a bit of a multi-tool collector, as I've mentioned in the past, I thought I'd pick one up and check it out. It's a pretty nice tool. Mine came with this particular leather sheath. I'm not really a big fan of the leather sheaths because they're kind of stiff, although I think they'll probably last longer. But you can get them in the nylon sheath, which looks, they look like this. So I guess depending where you buy, you can get either nylon or leather. When it comes to Leatherman tools, there are three different sizes or categories. Basically, you have a full-size tool, then you have pocket tool, and then you have a keychain tool. And within the full-size tool, they only had there's only a couple tools that they have that are they're very large. They're 4.5 inches. The Super Tool, the very first Super Tool, was the first 4.5 inch tool that Leatherman made. Now there's three. You've got the Super Tool 300. You've got the Leatherman Surge, which is a big boy, and then you've got the Leatherman Core, which is also a very large tool. And just to give you an idea of the size differential, here's a Leatherman Charge TTI, and it's a 4-inch. It's considered a full-size tool. Anything that's 4 inches is considered full size. The Skeletal is 4 inches and it's considered full size. But there is a considerable amount of difference in size, and so these are good sized tools, these 4.5 inch tools. But you can't really compare like the Surge to this tool head to head because they're two different type of tools. The Surge has the the one hand opening blades and stuff on them, like on the outside, so you don't have to actually open the tool up to get at the multi-tool up to get at the other screwdrivers and other tools. It's more like a wave. It's just like a large wave or a large TTI, Charge TTI, and but these tools are definitely direct comparison. The Super Tool 300 and the Core are basically the same tools with some aesthetic differences, and I'm going to show you them real quick. Like I say, they're both 4.5 inches tall, so they're both the same size, the big 4.5 inch tools. The Super Tool 300, it weighs only 9.6 ounces, which is pretty heavy actually for a multi-tool, but the Core is 10.8 ounces, so this is a little bit lighter. It's 1.2 ounces lighter. As far as the width, they're the same, and then you'll notice the locks are different, and basically it's just aesthetics. They both are piano type locks where you push down, and the tools as they fold out, I'll show you in a minute, will lock into this, and you can either have them all locked out at once, or you can just lock individual tools as you need them. One of the other differences is that if you notice that this is on the Super Tool, it's narrow down here where the pivot's going to be, where the plier heads come out, as opposed to the Core, which is just straight all the way down, and then it has this plastic which I believe is called Kydex. And with the Core, that Kydex goes all the way through. You can't see it as much on this end, but you can see it right here, and it lines the sides of the multi-tool itself. Whether that's a good thing or bad, I guess it just depends on the amount of use. I don't think it really does anything. It's a very strong plastic, so it's not like it's cheap plastic. But the Super Tool doesn't have any of that in it, and it's much, it's a very sturdy, strong tool. As far as tool selection go, though, let me get into that. There is no difference in the tool selection. Not only in the tool selection, but in the tool placement of these two tools. They are identical. If I have them set up right, which I probably don't, let me see. We'll see. Yeah, if you notice the tools, they're both 19 tool multi-tools, and they have the exact same tools, and they're in the exact same places on the tools themselves. So basically the lineup's exactly the same on both sides. No differences whatsoever. But the main difference you're going to notice is the plier heads. The plier heads on the Super Tool, which is in my left hand right here, are a lot beefier, and the wire cutters can be removed. There's a little, not an Allen wrench, but a star wrench bolt right there, or pin, whatever, screw, that you can remove on both sides. And you can remove these wire cutter blades, and you can sharpen them or replace them. And they're also made out of better steel than the other parts of the knife. They're made out of 154 cm, which holds an edge better and longer. So this tool is designed for more heavy-duty wire cutting than, say, the core is. The core head is the same as the surge. The plier head is exactly the same. Maybe if I turn it around, it'll look a little better. Light, the way the light's shining on it, but they're the exact same. This is the surge and this is the core. Other than that, there's one other small detail. Well, it's not really small, I guess. It's aesthetics, but they're calling this the Comfort Sculpted Handle. If you notice, it is. It doesn't dig into your fingers. The edges are rounded off, so it doesn't dig in. And not that it digs in with the core either. The core is rounded off, as you can see. The edges are rounded. But the big thing is, when it comes to deploying the blades, whether you deploy the straight edge blade or the sheep's foot serrated blade, they have this divot, and this thing is called a cutout, and it's for access if you're wearing gloves, and that's what the reason for that is. So other than that, they're really the same, very similar tools. Now the difference in price is a big difference. The Super Tool 300 right now is going for $69-70, as we'll say, and the core you can get on Amazon for about $50. So if you don't really have a need for doing some heavy-duty wire cutting, or you don't use these multi-tools wearing gloves, get the core. If you do a lot of wire cutting and you do wear a lot of gloves when you're using them, get the Super Tool 300. But that said, it's a nice tool. It's very well built, very nice and strong and sturdy, and maybe as time goes on the price will lower. I don't know, but I think it's worth it, and it's a good tool. Pick it up. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching.